This is the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by the United States Air Force. Now, here's your host, Brandon Wirth.
Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by Dazos Digital, real business solutions in the digital world. It's yours truly, Brandon Wirth, joining you here today. We got a loaded episode for you guys here this afternoon on May 18th. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the great weather we've had over the last week. It's supposed to be warm this weekend, y'all, 80 degrees. And let me tell you what, I am psyched about it. But we got a loaded show today, not enough time to do so, and I've already stalled a good 30 seconds, so we're going to get right into the material here today. CSAA score report. We didn't get to it last week, but now we're going to get to it. CSAA conference track and field in the books, and you all know I am passionate about track and field. So we're going to get into those team scores, individual standouts, as well as go over scores in baseball and softball, as well as girls soccer in CSAA tournament action. If you want more as well, baseball and softball coverage, go on over to the Rundown. You can find that on Big Country 100.9's YouTube page, as well as Big Rapids Daily News on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We always post the links so you guys don't miss out, and you can find those shows. And even after we air them, you can go watch them and re-listen to them post-production as well, wherever you get your podcast, and the Rundown on YouTube as a video format as well. So we'll get into the CSA score report, but first, we got an interview for you guys. I know, an interview. We've had some scheduling mishaps, but we got one together for you here today and looking forward to it. Friend of mine, met in college, Austin Arquette. He's a local in the area, was a former athlete as well in the area, now turned official. And we talked last week about the MHSA rule changes, some of them pertaining to officiating, the assault suspensions that we put in place for anybody assaulting an official, as well as implementing a minimum number of officials in order to hold a contest. So I wanted to hear an official's official response. And Austin was great enough to come on the show and had a passionate response for what he believes is some of the causes for our officiating shortage and what can be changed moving forward. So we'll get to that interview here in just a bit, as well as we got to thank our great sponsors for making this show possible. Those include Johnson's Automotive, the Schuberg Insurance Agency, Alter Care Big Rapids, Quality Car and Truck Repair, the Mecosta Osceola Career Center, Moto the Mecosta Osceola Transit Authority, and Paris Auto Sales and Service of Big Rapids. Big thanks to all of you, as well as our main sponsor of this program, Dazos Digital, real business solutions in the digital world. Your business can use the great tools that have been used by Dazos Digital, and they can help you take advantage of our wild and crazy, but certainly potential digital market for your business or organization. You can find out more at DazosDigital.com today. So we waste no more time. We'll send you the interview room with a local official, Austin Arquette. First question I got for you, Austin. Thank you so much for joining us here, especially with the new rule change on a minimum number of officials in the area. This seems like something that has really been in the works for a while now. And what are your initial thoughts as an official that the MHSA came down and made this decision?
So I like it because there's so many games that you don't have, the minimum even required. You get, for baseball, for example, having one umpire for even just a JV game is incredibly tough. I mean, you're either stuck behind the plate or stuck in the field you're missing so much. There's only so much one person can do. And then the moment you miss one thing that alters the game to an entirety, you get the kids' attitude immediately changing, the parents immediately changing. Now, granted, some of the coaches understand because they've been there, they've done that. But at the same time, you even get them getting on your case. And it's like, guys, I told you at the beginning of the game, I'm one person. I'm going to miss stuff. I mean, I'm not perfect. So I think it's a great thing that they're doing a minimum requirement of officials just because, I mean, they need it. And that way, too, you're not alone. At least you have somebody in your corner because a lot of the times, when you do a basketball, even when you're just two people, it's two versus everybody. I mean, right? You put the stripes on and you're like public enemy number one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people, it feels like, have really gotten caught up in that mantra, like we're all against the officials, because at the end of the day, you guys are trying to be neutral and you are trying to conduct a contest between two teams that really has a lot of significance for a lot of these kids, because, I mean, they're not going to get this game back. And it feels like for them, I mean, for some of them, it's really their only times to play this game or whatever sports contest competition that they're playing. And it just doesn't feel like the flack is really necessary at officials.
Yeah, I think it's just more of I wouldn't even want to say the culture that we live in nowadays, but I mean, you have to, right? So the culture we live in, and, you know, with the whole cancel culture, you're not going to take responsibility for your own actions. You're going to blame it and push it off on somebody else. And I just feel like a lot of these kids, and even parents nowadays, you know, that's immediately where they go, oh, my kid didn't do anything wrong, or, you know, that's the official's fault. They made the wrong call. That's their fault, regardless if it's a close game, a blowout, or, you know, just anything, any one little minute call, whether it happened in the first 30 seconds or the last 30 seconds of the game. They think that one call drastically changes everything. And that's all they look for and then that's all they remember too, right? And that's the only thing they talk about. They don't talk about, oh, well, maybe if our team rebounded better, or maybe if my team got on base more, or, you know, any little thing. They just look at, to push the blame on somebody else.
Yeah, for sure. It's a competitive environment for sure. But obviously with the spring meetings, I'm sure you guys and a lot of your umpires have probably heard about it, and a lot of the other officials about the minimum number. Obviously you talked about that earlier, but also the rules that are coming down regarding potential suspension for assault. That would be, you know, kicking, spitting, hitting, which that's a very, very extreme by what I've never really seen that happen before. And I've talked to some other officials local in the area, Kevin Courtney as well, somebody that you've worked with in your time in this area. And that's something that hasn't been really seen and really hasn't been a total issue. But it's certainly something that feels like, yeah, if that ever came to that case, like, yeah, there should be suspension and further punishment handed down.
I absolutely agree with that. And as you said, you know, you haven't really seen it to that level of, like, you know, for instance, popping someone's tires or going after them after a game when they've already left, or, you know, so on and so forth, whatever it is. But I just think it's, you know, a lot of these kids, especially this younger generation, I talk like I'm 70 years old, but I'm not. You know, a lot of the generation after even you and me, I mean, we're the same generation, but, like, they're just, I feel like they idolize these guys, especially like NBA, MLB, NFL even, and you see, oh, well, you know, they got in a car chase or they punched their wife and they only got like 6 to 4 games. I can get away with whatever I want to do. I'm in high school. I'm not going to get suspended. I don't have repercussions. And, you know, now that they're kind of cracking down on some of this stuff, if we can crack down on it at this younger age, maybe we can save them issues at the college level, at the, you know, pro level, anything else. And I think that's ultimately what it's for at the end of the day, is to better these kids, because, you know, I've always grown up, and I'm sure you can attest to this, as a student athlete, you're a student first, athletic second, you know. And a lot of these kids, they don't care about the student part. They just, oh, I'm an athlete, I'll get special treatment, or I can do whatever I want because I'm an athlete. And that's the worst mentality that some of these kids can have. And I think that we created our own monster when putting athletics so high above everything else, that now we're facing those repercussions and having to crack down hard. And the only way to get, you know, them fixed is to crack down hard.
Right. Yeah. It just seemed like the logical solution there. But especially with the area, looked at it over the last couple of years. And obviously, as you mentioned, we're both around the same age and we've both had our hand in officiating. Obviously, you do it full time. I only did it as a hobby during the COVID years. But the number of officiating seems like it has dropped tremendously in the area. What do you think is a big cause of that? And really, what do you think there needs to be in order to get those numbers back up? So really, we don't have the threatening, at the end of the line, we could lose games if we don't have officials. Like, we got to have them somehow. What are some of those things that you're seeing that might be contributing to that shortage?
Yeah. So, I mean, So for instance, number one, I mean, to knock it out, the simple answer is a lot of the officials that, I've seen or that I work with, they're all 60 plus. So they're getting to the age where their bodies can't do it anymore. I mean, they can't handle it. They're ready to retire. They're ready to be done. I mean, you name it. They're at the age where they're just done. And, some of them, it's a hobby for them. That's not their everyday job. I mean, granted, for me, I get to go do it, but it's also, I still have a job on the side to still, make ends meet and pay bills. However, there's also the issues of there's just no youth coming in. That's a big problem. I think me and I've only worked with like 2 people in my entire time since I started this 4 years ago. I've worked with 2 people that are my age.
Wow.
If not a little bit older. Everybody I've ever worked with is like 50 plus or 45 plus. So I think that's a big contributing factor, is that we don't put on enough camps to get the youth invested. We don't have a draw to, people don't want to do it, is what I'll say. People don't want to put on the stripes. That's the simplest answer I could put you for. And it's for numerous reasons. It took me a while to want to do it and actually step up. But, nobody at the end of the day wants to have the bad guy persona. And unfortunately, as a ref, and nowadays that persona is built up so bad that the moment you do, you're treated different.
More of the interview with Austin, as well as CSAA score report, coming up after these messages here on WBRN.
I substitute teach right now, and so I see some of these kids, and they're like, "Oh, you're the ref," and I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And because I don't have stripes on, they treat me differently. But the moment I put those stripes on after a teaching one day or something, they're like, "Oh, how are you going to make that call?" or "What's going on?" And so they take it a little bit better because they know me, but you can see the subtle attitude change of like, well, that's not, and they want to argue every call. And again, I think that goes back to idolizing wrong athletes that they're watching on television and seeing all these people get away with it. So they think they can get away with it. Or, mom and dad are feeding into it because they're, whether they deem, oh yeah, that was a bad call or whatever. And then they just let their kid go on a rant, and it just carries on and continues.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting perspective for sure. Austin, thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we can get some more officials for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can get some of those camps going. And, if anybody ever wanted to do something officiating, I say try it. Do it in a sport where you have full comprehension of, and because I'm still learning new things about football, basketball, and baseball that I do, that I thought I knew the whole sport. And it's like, well, no, there's some nitty gritty stuff that you still are going to learn. And, it's only going to make you a better person the more you put into it. Granted, it is tough. However, those that stick with it and do it, it's really rewarding, especially to see the growth on some of these kids. Like, for example, short story, I had a kid, he was such a troubled, always getting in trouble, only cared about athletics. And now that I'm teaching, he enjoys it. He enjoys being in the game, and he enjoys, he's just a better overall kid. And it's astonishing to see that growth from, starting at the 5th and 6th grade level all the way to varsity levels. And so those kids stick with it. And it's just, that's the big part. I think a lot of people, to end this, with you, the biggest part is you need to look at the bigger picture. Look at the reward versus how much drama or dilemma that you're going to have to deal with. And that's simply put, that's the best part. That's what I get out of it. And that's what I love about it. And that's why I do it.
For sure. Yeah, man. Sounds like some great stuff that certainly isn't necessarily seen because of all the negatives, but the amount of positives do outweigh them at the end of the day, for sure. Austin, thank you so much for joining us, man. Appreciate your time, man. And good luck with the rest of the spring seasons as we approach the postseason.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Big thanks to Austin for joining us here on the show. Biggest takeaway I certainly had, you can just tell the passion in a lot of the things he is saying. And no matter what your views are on what officials are supposed to do in a game, what they are supposed to leave alone, what they're supposed to control, what they're not supposed to control, officials are feeling pressure more than ever. There's very little of them. There's getting even bigger games, and these environments are getting more hectic for them to work in. And we're not necessarily saying we're in a library to be able to play a lot of these games, but there certainly is a big-time push that is being made by the MHSA. We talked a little bit about it on last week's show. You can check that out in the feed wherever you find this show. But there's a lot of pressure being made by the MHSA to start having more officials so we can get more of these games under control. We can really reestablish and have fun with these games and not have to remember all the sour moments from when things got out of control and things didn't fall under the perfect circumstances. So whatever your decision and whatever your stance is on what an official is, we can all agree that we need more of them, or local sports won't be the same. And let's even say it might seem daunting, but even to have the local sports even be here, because without officials, we can't host contests. So the MHSAA is going to put a big hammer on that, whether you like it or not. But we'll transition out into the CSAA score report. We won't keep you guys waiting any longer. So we'll get into some contests here on the local sports recap here, courtesy of MHSA.com. But first, we'll get to the CSAA championships. I left you guys hanging off the clip last week, and I really hate doing that. So we're going to go right back to it, and we're going to get you the team scores first from the CSAA championship. This was held at Chippewa Hills High School, which is actually where one of the regionals is right now. And I'm actually there. If you're listening to this live and you're at Chip Hills, come find me. I'm in the stands probably somewhere cheering on my alma mater, who took home the men's championship as a team. Reed City, 133 points. Tri-County in second at 103. White Cloud in the bronze medal position and 79 points. Followed by Big Rapids, Kent City, Lakeview, Central Montcalm, Chip Hills, Moly Stanwood, Newaygo, and Grant in respective order there on the men's side. Flip it to the women's side. It's Chip Hills. Once again, they continue their run of titles. They win 115 and a half. Yes, you did hear that right, and a half. You'll hear the other part later. Against Central Montcalm, who was in second, and Kent City, who was in third. Lakeview had 80 and a half. They were one spot shy, not even a spot, a half a spot away from getting onto the podium and finishing third. Big Rapids in fifth, Newaygo 6, Reed City 7, Moly Stanwood 8, Tri-County 9, White Cloud 10, and Grant 11 in respective order. Some official winners from these results that we have pulled up for you here. Men's 100-meter, Owen Barenwald, winner at 11:04. Natalia Fricke, the freshman from Big Rapids, takes the title in the women's 100, as well as in the 200 meters. Owen Barenwald wins once again, and it's Olivia Malloy, a future Bulldog, winning on the Big Rapids side in the 200 meters. 400 meters, it's Andrew Kianis of Reed City, 52.3, a personal record and a championship performance. Ariana Musso of Lakeview takes the crown with a 61, or as a lot of other unorthodox runners would call it, a 61. Orthodox time clock people, 101.44 seconds there, the senior from Lakeview. 800 meters, it's Gus Rohde. What a season he's had. 2 flat, 0.6 takes the win. Cameron Soliday wins for Lakeview. The freshman Wildcat wins with 2:23.12 there in the 800 meters. 1600 meters, Gus's teammate Anthony Kianis wins 4:27.92, and you can look online and you can definitely tell these guys ran together and gave each other a win. Really nice gesture by both those guys. Great teammates and certainly great runners in this area. Lila Volker's another very talented senior, or excuse me, not a senior, a junior. She'll be a senior next year, folks, so she's got even more in the tank for next year. 5:14 wins it for the 1600 meters there for the Kent City Eagle. Speaking of Eagles, Samuel Martini in the 3200, 9:58.69 is the winner in the 3200 meters, and Volkers doubles up and wins the 32 as well, 11:28.32 there for Kent City. 110 hurdles finals, it's Grant Wheaton of, not Grant, but Lakeview, 15.27 there at the 39-inch 110 hurdles in the finals. And for the 100-meter hurdles on the women's side, it's Chippewa Hills' own junior Hannah Abbott with a 16 flat to win it at the 33-inch height there in the hurdles. 300 hurdles, it's Wheaton again, 40.53 for the Lakeview Wildcat, the junior PRs, and wins it, as well as in the final for the Chippewa Hills. rinse and repeat. Hannah Abbott, once again, 4.864, your final in that one. How about some relays? The 4x1. It's the Cardinals of Big Rapids, 44.09 on the men's side. That includes Bailey Nordland, Jace Hack, Garrett Foster, and Caleb Dubowski there on the men's side. For the women, it's also the Cardinals. Olivia Malloy, Sophia Blackwell, Samara Turner, and Nalia Fricky win it there for the Cardinals in 50.89 seconds. 4x2. Cards again. Nordland, Heck, Foster, and Lamont Belvin win it there in a 132.84 final time. And on Big Rapids' side, it's the same four. They run it back in the 4x2. It lit their 4x1 win in a minute and 47 seconds. That's Malloy, Blackwell, Turner, and Fricky. 4x4. Reed City upsets Big Rapids. It's Andrew and Anthony Kianis, followed by Isaiah Lentz and Gus Rohde. 331.60 wins it. On the girls' side, how about the Newaygo Lions? They get the victory in the 4x4. Grace Hughes, Ruby Hughes, Hope Pietzrak, and Maria Rittering. Hopefully I said Hope's name right, but those are the four taking home the 4x4 crown for Newaygo. In the 4x8, it's Reed City, Isaac Clemenshaw, Anthony Kianis, Paul Saladin, and Gus Rohde. 835.45 your final time, as well as on the women's side, it's Newaygo. Once again, it's Hughes, Pietzrak, and Rittering winning it there for the Lions. Shot put, White Cloud's own Lloyd Seabrink Johnson, 49 and 1 inch. That is a really nice throw from him. Congratulations on his title there in the men's shot put. It's the 12-pound division, of course. On the women's side, for the 4 kilogram, it's Lexi Martin, the standout sophomore from Moly Stanwood, 34 feet 1 inch for the shot put win. Discus, Lucas Russo of Tri-County, 143 feet 10 inches for the win in the 1.6 kilogram discus. And on the women's side, it's Addison Corsall, or Corcall. Apologies if I said that one wrong there, from Kent City, 99 feet 11 inches there for the sophomore Eagle. High jump on the men's side, Noah Robinson, the standout from White Cloud, 6 feet 8 inches. The senior gets the win. And Hannah Abbott gets her 3rd title in the conference championships, and high jump 5 foot even would be the winner for the junior. How about some pole vault? Xander Antor of Tri-County, 13 feet 3 inches there for the sophomore Viking, gets the win. And on the women's side, it's Emma Johnston out of Reed City, 9 feet even. She outs Clara Volmer for the number 1 spot as the sophomore takes it home. Long jump, Sophia Blackwell on the women's side, keeping on her toes, 17 feet 4 inches for the win for the junior. And Jack Deitch, the Coyote out of Reed City, 21 feet 2.75 inches. The sophomore wins it. Those are your individual results there from track and field CSAA championships. We'll leave you with some key scores before you go. For more baseball and softball scores, you can tune in to the rundown. So we'll make sure we cover soccer. Back to May 11th, Alma and Lakeview. It's the Wildcats win 3-0. Gaylord and Big Rapids in a 1-1 tie. Elk Rapids over Big Rapids 4-1. Fremont gets a win over Grant via forfeit. Tri-County against Cadillac. Cadillac wins 3-0. Big Rapids over Kingsford 4-0. Tri-County over Lakeview 7-1. And Cadillac over Lakeview 6-0. Tri-County will finish it off with a 4-3 win over Standish Sterling there in soccer action. Big Rapids over Chip Hills in the quarterfinal 8-0. Newaygo over Grant 2-1. 9-3 for Tri-County over Kent City, and Reed City falls to Lakeview 7-0 there in CSAA action. In the semifinals, it would be Reed City over Kent City. They win 6-2, and Tri-County wins 4-2 over Lakeview there in the semifinals. So those are all the girls' soccer scores. For more baseball scores, you can head on over to the rundown, as well as you can look them up as well, MHSAA.com here for all of your local sports teams coverage, as well as on WBRN on the side panels, as we'll update those regularly so you guys can get more scores. But that's it. Big show, and big thanks to you for making this possible. Big thanks to Bezos Digital, and we'll see you back here next week on the West Michigan Sports Show. We'll see you guys later.